Inspire, Innovate, Ignite, Conversations that Count. We're so glad that you could be here with us, whether you're live or watching the replay. And today we're super excited because we're going to be talking about finding balance as an entrepreneur. And this is a great topic because it's just filled with all kinds of possibilities. You know, living in our world today is full of so many challenges just in our daily lives, and then adding everything on top of being an entrepreneur, it can really be overwhelming and difficult to maintain balance. So we've got a handful of experts today that we're going to talk about this topic for you. And we handpick all of our experts, and you may see some returning. That's because they have so much wisdom to share, and we're just super excited to have all these wonderful people here. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce you in a moment, but I just want to say that we have all kinds of classes that are ongoing through our events on our website, and I'll put the link in a little bit, but I encourage you to check it out because we have these panel discussions that are free every week, like several times a week, and so much more. So I'll go ahead and put that link in a little bit later. And now I just would like to have you sit back and relax. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce April Porter. So April is a finance empire building strategist, attorney, CEO of Ask April Porter, and named top influencer in the global franchising industry. And she also hosts the #1 franchisee podcast on Apple called The Infinite Franchisee Show. I hope I'm saying that right. April fills the gaps between the franchise model and the ultimate success by providing franchises the strategies they need to increase the profits, build reliable teams, and scale to multiple locations. She helps franchisors turn their brands into empires by helping underperformers become top performers, and top performers become even better performers and multi-unit owners. And then we have Sue Rummock. Sue is a life coach who specializes in overwhelm management strategies for the highly sensitive person. As a highly sensitive person herself, she's been a professional life coach for over 15 years, working with entrepreneurs and their families to help make sensitivity a gift and a strength. And we also have, Sophia, are you going to be talking today? Okay, so we have Sophia Soul, and few people have had a life like Sophia. She is now the co-creator. She's creating this worldwide organization dedicated to the empowerment of self and others. She was born with a genetic disorder and has undergone over 30 operations. And so she's faced many challenges and has been able to transform her life with the power of positive thought, self-esteem, and sound healing. And all of this work of self-development over the years has brought Sophia to where she is now, creating this global movement of love, growth, and connection through the Sacred You, or our sacred community. And then we have Allison. And Allison, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I don't have your info in front of me. So please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Lisa. I was a last minute inclusion, so it's probably why you don't have my details. So my name is Allison Cotton. Spirit call me a soul connector, and that is because I believe in the heart of hearts, we are soul light, and we connect to our soul light through the universal energy of spirit and source through us. So that is the element of what they showed me as a soul connector. So what does that mean? It means many different things. I've started so many things. I've been an entrepreneur in the brick and mortar business as a florist, creating beautiful designs for weddings and for Mother's Day and all of those beautiful celebrations. And I'm now an online entrepreneur who loves to tap into that energy of your soul and help you connect to it in whatever shape, way, or form that is through coaching. So that is my main aspect. And I'm a mum of 2 with a tribe of many animals in my home, 3 dogs, 4 chickens, and anything else you may hear in between. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. And I see we have Betty now. Is that how you say your name, Betty?
It's Beate, but not far
Okay.
off.
Bate.
Beate, yes.
Beate. Okay. So I'm just going to introduce you so that the listeners know a little bit about you. So Beate helps ambitious entrepreneurs to uplevel their mindset and design their unique dream lifestyle business they absolutely love to achieve more revenue, impact, and freedom. And after a successful career in marketing in global organizations such as Kellogg's and Bacardi, and leading multi-million-dollar brands like Grey Goose and Bombay Sapphire, she finally recognized her purpose and true passion and left her corporate job to build a business that will make a difference in people's lives. She is the host of Passion to Profit Summit, where 24 global experts and thought leaders share their biggest secrets to success. And she's the creator of the Passion-Driven Business Blueprint, where she works with clients one-on-one or in groups and workshops to fully leverage their zone of genius so that they can work less while making more impact and cash. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Lisa Depamphilis, and I'm happy to be your facilitator today. So we're just going to be asking the panelists some questions about finding balance as an entrepreneur. And I think I would like to just go around and hear from everybody about how, there's a time when you're an entrepreneur where you discover that, oh my gosh, you've got to have balance or it's not going to work. So I would like to start off with that and hear from you. How did you find, like, what happened where you got to the point where you realized you've got to have balance or nothing else is going to work? So Beate, since you're unmuted, do you want to start?
Sure. I think I got to the point where one of the reasons why I became an entrepreneur was that I recognized that freedom was one of my biggest values in life, and that never had really experienced the freedom that I craved in the corporate world. But then I got so caught up in the entrepreneurial life that, it's your own business and you constantly feel like you should be doing something, or you start missing out, or you're not going to make the money that you're looking for, you're not going to have the success that you're looking for, and you feel like constantly on. And then I started recognizing, well, hang on, this is still not giving me the freedom that I was looking for. So something needs to change. And that's when I started to really take some time out and say, like, no, being an entrepreneur, let's be honest, is not always easy, and it comes with its challenges. So you really need to take advantage of the perks as well. So I started to, now hang on, I have this freedom. It's up to me what I do with it. If I decide to constantly start working and constantly being on and constantly being on email, constantly creating, constantly bringing value to everyone, then yes, that's up to me. But I can also take time out, and I don't have to be always working. I don't always have to be creating new things. And that's kind of when I step back a little bit. And just, for example, I've just been off for almost 3 weeks now. And I know for a fact it didn't hurt my business. If anything, I've come back with more ideas, better ideas, with clients being excited that I'm back and they can't wait to dive back in, rather than always being there to creating value, when you drive yourself crazy and you don't end up giving the value that you can give because you're burned out from doing it all the time.
Totally. Yeah, that's so true. It's like we go into being an entrepreneur because we want the freedom and the joy. We want all of it, right? We want to create our own lives and be in charge. And it's important to keep that in front of mind. So thank you for sharing, Beate. Why don't we hear from April? Do you want to chime in on this?
Oh. Yes, I would love to. Thank you. So I know exactly that moment that you're talking about, Lisa. And for me, I decided when I left the practice of law, I decided to open a business, I wanted to go with a franchise. because a franchise is supposed to be a proven model that you can just follow the blueprint and reach success. And I did that. I went in, I did everything my franchisor told me to do. And what my franchisor told me to do was, you need to be the only person in the business for the first 3 months so that you can reserve your payroll and you can grow your revenues. Well, my business was kickboxing gyms. And our model, that meant that I got there at 8 a.m. and we demonstrated exercises every 3 minutes, again, 30 seconds after that. And we did that all day long. So I was the only one there demonstrating exercises to clients from 8 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night, physically, push-ups, burpees, everything all day. It was the most exhausted I've ever been in my life, ever. I remember like sitting at 9 o'clock trying to eat my dinner and feeling like I couldn't lift my fork to my mouth. And I realized I couldn't go on like that. Luckily, it worked and we were profitable in 3 months and I was able to get some part-time help in there. But what it had done is it had started me on this trajectory of habit where I felt like I had to be there all the time. And so even though I could trust my team to do certain things, I was still there. And I was working my nights, I was working weekends, we were doing marketing on weekends. And ultimately it got to the point where I came home one night and it was late. It was like 9 p.m. I came home and my husband, I remember we were standing in the kitchen and my husband said to me, he said, I am not happy. And it was like somebody had punched me in the gut, because I could tell what he meant was not that it was, I'm not happy today, I'm having a bad day. It was, I am not happy. And he said, you're never home. We didn't go into business for you to work more than you had been as a trial attorney, which was already a very demanding job. He said, I never see you, and this life doesn't make me happy. And I instantly went into like damage control, right? I'm thinking like, okay. And I said, what do you want to do? I said, are you telling me you want a divorce? And he said, no. I mean, that was a relief, but I really, at the time, I thought that might be on the table, because he was so serious. And he said, no, it has to change. Something has to change. And I was like, well, if I have to choose, I'll sell the business. I'll leave the businesses. I'll sell them, because in that moment, I didn't know that there was another option between all in or all out as far as the business to make it work. But luckily, that was a wake-up call that made me take the next action, which was I found an executive business coach and really learned that that's what I'd been missing in my business, was the strategies to complement this amazing franchise model that I'd been given. And in 60 days, I was not working nights and weekends anymore. And I never worked another night or weekend again after that point. And that's when my husband and I planned our first vacation in, I think, 5 years. We hadn't been on a vacation together, and we went on our first vacation. And ever since that moment, we take a vacation every 3 months. So 4 times a year, we do a getaway. I take my cell phone and put it in the hotel safe, and it doesn't come out until we head back to the airport. And so I completely get to unplug.
Yeah, that's so important. And what a great wake-up call too, right? Because otherwise it would have been something else that would have crashed for you. So thank you for sharing that. And I'd like to ask Sue, because you've been in business for so long, you've seen a lot and you've probably gone through a lot of different life experiences. So maybe you can share some of the things that happened to you on this journey of finding balance.
I'm not sure that you're going to like what I have to say, because I never have found true life balance. And I come from generations of entrepreneurs. My grandmother, so we're talking 150 years ago, was an entrepreneur. My parents were both entrepreneurs. I and my husband were entrepreneurs. I still am. And in my culture of entrepreneurism, we never took vacations. We were constantly on. It was something that we basically learned from birth. And for me personally, and maybe we need to look at those people who have a different rhythm, a different energetic rhythm, and recognize that there are some people for whom taking a break and sitting out for a period of time creates high anxiety. And because they're not tapping into their creativity, they're not reaching into their souls, they're not speaking to that inner self that keeps them alive, their spark of life. So for me, my family is where I take my rest. I love spending time with my family. That grounds me. It gives me a sense of reality. Doing spiritual work, inner work, that gives me a sense of reality. And I love the itty bitty details. It feeds me, the creativity of coming up with new ideas, exciting ideas, new projects feeds me. And that balances me when I feel unbalanced. Do I need to take a vacation? I took a vacation, my very first vacation with a friend. We left our kids with our husbands and we went away for a week to Disneyland. Not Disneyland, but Florida. That was Disneyland. The whole of Florida was Disneyland. And she just wanted to lie on the beach. I couldn't lie on the beach. I walked up and down the beach collecting shells and sticks and stones. And I went to the gift shop and asked for an empty Kleenex box so that I could cover it with glue so that I could paste glue the shells, because that calmed me. That gave me balance. So have I ever had a breakdown? Have I ever had a meltdown? I've had meltdowns. Yes. Did I need to take time out? Yes. But in that time out, I was redefining myself. I've never been able to unplug and just do nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm a different voice, a different energy.
No, and that it's a great point that you brought up, though, because because finding balance doesn't have to mean the same thing for everybody. It doesn't mean the same thing for everybody, right? And finding balance for you, I mean, I didn't travel until recently. So I totally get it. I didn't need a vacation. And I was happy just walking on my property or playing with rocks or whatever it is, painting, whatever. And that was my balance. That was what my balance was. But it doesn't matter as long as you are able to balance out the push with the creativity, with the back and forth is really, like you said, the different rhythms. So I love that, Sue. Thank you so much for that. Allison, did you want to talk about it?
I'm just going to add more dimension to everything else that's been said. Is like we are multidimensional. Like we're mom, we're sister, we're mother, we're entrepreneur, we're everybody. Like we're all of the things, right? So we're multidimensional, multifaceted, multi-aspected. So finding balance is the journey and navigating that to me. Finding balance on the journey of being mum and having to drive 2 children to work or to school or, to football, sports, and then having husband time and then having me time and then having work time. There is this multidimensional construct that we need to find the balance in. And to me, that journey looks like, what does this week look like for me? And then looking at that timeline, so to speak, and then rearranging or juggling or, for an instance of balance, just as an example, this week I had an Akashic Records certification course due to start today. And for the last few days, I had been hearing in my head, it's got to be 2 weeks, it's going to be 2 weeks. And I couldn't understand why I was hearing it's going to be 2 weeks in my head. And so I soldiered on. And then this morning I've woken up going, I can't do this course. It's 2 weeks away. I can't start for 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, the balance that I was feeling unbalanced about all came into place. Right? So the multidimensional aspect of me went, divine timing is going to sort this out if you just stop and listen, and you will find the balance in that. So
great example. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for bringing that up. And I think, you know, what you were saying about navigating the journey, it really is about navigating the journey, because our life is not just, you know, linear, right?
no.
And so maybe some of you have some tips about how to navigate the journey more easily, because there are so many different hats that you wear as an entrepreneur plus life. So does anybody have want to offer any tips on how to best do that, so that you have time for the creativity, you have time for, you know, your emails and your teaching, your programs and the marketing and your family and, you know, all the other things. So I would love to hear some tips for the listeners. Who would like to start with that? Okay, Allison, go for it.
Awareness is a huge key. Like having the awareness of what's actually required, what's possible, what am I working on this week, that's one key. The second key that I see is having space created for that awareness to come in. So whether that's often for me, a practical tool is, I find as a generator, I like to get my motor running in the morning, so to speak, when I wake up. So I'm very much get up and go for a walk type of gal. So I go for a morning mindless, mindful walk. It's like I just walk around with the dogs, letting them do whatever they do. And I'm just listening to the birds, watching the sunrise, listening to the trees. And literally in that mindless moment, I get the information that I need when I set the intention of what have I got on today? And that could have been the first question I've asked myself. And then so following that walk, coming home, I sit there and go, right, that's right, I've got this to do today. Yep, don't forget you've got this. And I write a little list and then navigate the day based on what's possible and what I can handle today.
Yeah, I really like what you said, because I've been operating differently. So I've been following my projectorism, my projector beingness blueprint. And, you know, it's given me the ability to slow down. Yes. I used to get up and do my, you know, exercise first thing in the morning, because I was not operating as my true blueprint. But what I love is what you said about creating space. We have to create space. It's like when there's no space, there's no creation. You cannot create without the space. And I think it's so important to be able to do that, and to know who you are, to know your rhythm, like we've talked about, to know who you are and what works for you, so that you can do what you need to do. And also just operating in your business as a channel through which inspiration comes through. So you're not always trying to figure it out. You're not always trying to think, what do I have to do? It like you allow it to come through. And it's just such a game changer for me to do that. So I just wanted to share that. But thank you. Yeah, thank you, Allison, for that. Does anybody else want to comment on a tip? Or okay, we'll go with April and then Sue.
Well, before I give my tip, I want to say, like, I think that this panel is very balanced, because, you know, I see there's a lot of focus on energy, and there's a lot of focus on, you know, awareness and those types of things, which are very, very important. I think that they get overlooked in much of society. And then what I'm going to give is actually a practical tip on how to boil it down in a very memorable fashion so that you can implement it throughout the day. So in my business, we have coined a word for balance, and we call it swag. What swag stands for is sanity, wealth, and gratitude. So living that life where you can truly feel sane, you don't feel like you're surrounded by chaos, You're living in wealth rather than scarcity, and you're embracing gratitude rather than fear. And so that's really what we're striving for when we talk about balance. Now, how do we get there in a practical sense? Is because many entrepreneurs find themselves overwhelmed with what their to-do list tells them they have to accomplish in order to be successful. So we break that down into two categories. One category are the tasks that are dodo tasks. They are the daily operations that just keep your doors open. They have to be done to keep the wheels of the business turning, right? And then there's the things that need to happen that are called get it activities. That's what we call them. And get it stands for growth, expansion, and transcendence. So these are the things, this is the time you work into your schedule where you are working on the things that are truly growing your business, that are helping you expand your impact and expand your reach, and are helping you transcend into the highest version of the person that you were meant to be. So this could be just sitting and really thinking strategically about what you need to accomplish, or maybe it's creative, or maybe it's working on your vibration and working on becoming the highest version of yourself. But the get it activities are really the ones that are going to propel you to that vision of swag that you have. And so what we have to do, what we teach to do is to really like block your time and give yourself the permission to work on your dodo tasks. You have to do that. Everybody has to do that if you own a business. But then block out when you are going to work on the things that get you where you want to be. And then you have to protect that get it time and really spend that time focused and not let those dodo tasks encroach upon it.
Yeah, that's great. Great tip. I love it because it's so true. There are things that that keep the doors open. There are things that you have to do. And then there's that other type of work where you've got to be in your zone. And in order to be in your zone, it's important to block that time out so that you can be distraction free. So yeah, super great. Thank you, April, for that. Sue. You're muted, hun.
Okay, so I'd like to tell a story, a real short one, okay? So when we find ourselves in that place of imbalance, because everything in our life seems to be crashing down around us, and that isn't all the time, it's only some of the time. So way back, many years ago, my ex-husband was extremely ill. He'd had a breakdown. I was managing his business. I was managing my business. I was managing our two children who were still, children. I was dealing with the bank. We were in the middle of multiple recessions. It was quite a while ago. And the bank was threatening to close us down every single day. Every day I got up in the morning, and the first thing that happened was I was hit with a slam of cortisol, which caused me to go into a panic mode, and I'd have to calm myself down. The way that I did that was I visualized absolutely everything that had to get done that day as being laid out on a long table, a trestle table. Then I assigned priority to each one of those things. Which thing is most important? Which thing has to get done first? Which one is a priority for our survival? Which one is a nice to have? And everything that was a nice to have, I would take and put into an imaginary cupboard behind me. Open the cupboard, pick these boxes, put them in boxes, put them on the shelves. And the bottom shelves were all of the not the need to haves, but the nice to haves. Those were the last things. And then came the need to haves, and then came the essentials, the survival pieces, the things that had to get done within the first few hours of the day. Those things, one at a time, I would put on the table, only one. And I would give myself a time limit to do that one. It might be 20 minutes, it might be half an hour, it might be 2 hours, but I would give myself a time limit. I would do everything I possibly could within that limit, put that thing, if it was done, it was gone. Next, pull the next box out of my imaginary cupboard, put it on the table, and deal with it. My entire day was portioned out that way so that I had balance and my anxiety could be managed. So April, I love what you said about swag. Swag is brilliant. And I'm going to implement that because I think it's that great. The long table thing with the choose one box, put your priorities, top priorities on the top shelves and all those others on the lower shelves and deal with them one at a time. That's what I give to my clients who are in that survival, crashing down place of imbalance, to help them bring back life balance, because they're dealing with absolutely the essentials in order to survive that day. That's my story for this question.
Yeah.
I hope that.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's like, when your kid's sick and you've got all these things planned, but you have to have this chunk of time to do the thing. The priority is, take care of your kid, right? And so everything gets shuffled around immediately. And so I love what you're saying about how to kind of lay that out on the table so that you can see it and deal with one thing at a time, priority by priority, and give yourself a time limit is brilliant. Thank you for that. I love it.
It is to take everything off the table except the one that you're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, because otherwise it'd be overwhelming. You're like, but this and this and this and this, right? Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Beati, do you want to add to this?
Yeah, I love everything that's been said about having these different types of work that we need to do. The more the transactional business, running our business type stuff, but then also more the strategic long-term vision and thinking processes that we have. The way I have a really, I love the swag as well, but I have a really simple system. I have 3 priorities per month that I want to work on. And every week I decide what are the things I want to do on those 3 priorities in my business. So what are the highest leverage points that I want to work on? And again, these 3 then boil down to 3 priorities a week and 3 priorities for a day, kind of breaking it down onto that. And then as long as I've accomplished these 3 things, I feel like I've completed my day. Of course, sometimes that takes half an hour to do those 3 things, and there's plenty more time to do. And I do a lot more than that. But as long as I have those 3 things done and completed, I've already got gratitude. I've already got the feeling of already having achieved something that then brings more momentum, more motivation, and more drive into the overall business. So as long I tell myself, as long as I have completed those 3 priorities for that day, day's up for grabs, whatever I want to do with that. Sometimes that might be, maybe I'll go to the beach for a couple of hours. But more often than not, then tends to be, actually now that I'm in the swing of things, I want to do something else. And one thing leads to another and I have a very productive day. But at least if I don't do that, I don't have a reason to feel guilty, or I don't need to think, oh God, I've got to catch up tomorrow, or I get anxiety or worry about lagging behind or not achieving what I'm set out to do. So it's really about have 3 things to do and everything else is a bonus, and that keeps me going quite easily.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you for that. I was reading something somewhere about like pick a certain amount, a certain number, 3 to 5, and focus on those things a day, and that's it. That's it. So I love you breaking it down though, quarter, weekly, daily, 3 3s makes it great. So thank you for that. What I'd love to hear is I know we probably have some newer entrepreneurs listening, and when you're newly starting out, it seems like there's so much to learn and so much to do. And people get caught in the, whatever you want to call it, the shiny object syndrome, or going down the rabbit hole, or whatever it is, because everybody's telling you, no, this is the way you have to do it. No, this is the way you have to do it. So I'd like to hear, maybe you could give some suggestions to newer entrepreneurs on how to navigate that piece of it, because I think that's super important for people that are starting out so that they don't get overwhelmed and unbalanced because they're trying to do everything, even though they don't really need to. So does anybody want to answer that question for me? April, go for it.
So there's 3 tips I would give for this. I'll boil it down into 3 tips. So when you're first becoming an entrepreneur, number 1 is do not be afraid to seek capital for your business. So many people, because they're really good, they're already very passionate and skilled in whatever product or service that they want to deliver to their audience. They take the avenue of, okay, I'm just going to open a business and go, and as I make money, then I'll have revenue to invest in things, to help me grow. Or maybe they're not even thinking about investing to help them grow long term. They're just like, I'm going to make money as I go. And that you can be successful. I don't want to say you can't be successful doing that, but most of the time that perspective comes from a fear of no one's going to give me money. If I go into debt, that's bad. It's like a view of money being bad and being in debt bad. And there's really a different perspective that I want to introduce, which is when you're an entrepreneur, having capital allows you to leverage things. It gives you the freedom to say, I'm going to invest in this strategy, tactic, knowledge. I'm going to invest in myself and get some knowledge that's going to propel me a year down the road in a matter of a week. And that's ultimately what's going to help you grow faster in like both revenues and give you more balance, because you're time traveling essentially forward to where you're more successful. So financing isn't for everyone, but I would encourage everyone to speak to a banking professional and just get knowledgeable about it so that you can make an intelligent decision instead of a decision made upon assumptions about by getting capital for your business. So that would be number 1. Number 2, when you have capital, it allows you to invest in what I call the 5 essential professionals that are going to hold you up and help you grow faster. And those are a banker, a CPA, an attorney, a marketing professional, and a business coach. So those are the 5 professionals that I believe are truly essential to grow. And the reason that I believe all of those are essential to really reach what your definition of success is as fast as possible is because of tip number 3, which is most of us for the majority of our lives have been programmed to behave as employees. When you go to school, you're told where to sit. You're given an assignment with a deadline, and when you accomplish it, you are judged by it and you're patted on the head. You got an A for it, or you got a C, and there's judgment attached to that. So then you're taught that the only way to achieve that attention and adoration or respect or love from the people around you is to work harder, do better. If you don't understand math, then spend 4 hours studying it at night instead of 2, right? So we're pre-programmed to be in this constant state of self-judgment and attaining worthiness and attaining love through harder work. And when you become an entrepreneur, the opposite is true, but it's very difficult to learn that on your own and to break those habits on your own. And you need the assistance of a business coach, a life coach, somebody helping you hold up the mirror and learn how to break that pre-programming and break out of that shell to become the entrepreneur you are meant to be, which takes me back to finding your 5 professionals, which takes me back to have the money to hire them.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, such great stuff. Yeah, thank you so much for those tips. And hold on, Beati, I will get to you next, but Sophia had written in the chat, follow your passion and outsource what you don't like. So that's a great tip as well. All right, Beati.
I work with a lot of new entrepreneurs, and what I see quite a lot is that they get so excited about, there's like you said, there's a ton of different methodologies, systems, strategies, tactics, processes, whatever. And every marketing person has the best way of doing it. And, if you buy this product and it's going to completely sort out your business and you're going to have all the success you ever dreamed of. And you do the course, you apply to your business and nothing happens. The thing is with those programs and what worked for these guys who became really successful with that blueprint, whatever they've created, is that they don't tell you the whole story. They don't tell you how they got there. They don't tell you all the work that they've done before applying that. And that's individual to everyone, every single person, every single business. So what I really work on with my clients is to, and that goes back to have the money to invest into somebody working with you, is to identify what works for you, rather than just copying and pasting what other people do and expect, all the success to come from that. Is really identifying what are the things I'm good at, what am I passionate about, what I already have skills in, and what can I take from everything that's out there and turn it into my own, and take maybe bits and pieces from different programs or different people who've gone before you, and they do have a ton of value to add to what you can take. But it doesn't work to just copy and paste. It's really identifying what works for you, what works for your business, and how can you utilize and leverage this in your own way. We're all unique. Our businesses are unique. And we have to find our own way of doing it. Otherwise, we will always be chasing somebody else's success.
I totally 100% agree with you. Thank you. And I think everybody's going like this, everybody here is saying yes, because you have to test it out. And I think one of the things that I see is people want to go from here and just starting out with I think I want to do this, to I'm successful. And, it's a process, it's a journey, right? And there's so much to it, because we're evolving, we're growing as we are creating success, as we are becoming visible, as we are, all of these things. April just put in the chat that she just did a live on LinkedIn about this topic. So maybe that can go into some of the comments that Sophia posts later on. Yeah. Awesome. Does anybody else, before we go into, yes, Sue, go ahead. Yes.
So when I work with new entrepreneurs, one of the things that I've learned is that new entrepreneurs feel themselves as being the business. So one of the most important parts of becoming the driver of your business and not being driven by it is to, number one, design your own business identity as the owner, the visionary, the founder. You are the driver of the business. You have your own identity. Your business has its own identity. Now, if you want people to identify with your business identity really has to take precedence over yours when you're advertising. The business has its own identity. So that's the first piece. The second piece is find resource people that you can trust to delegate to. Give them timelines and deadlines and be the person that checks up on them. So they are doing the work. You are the overseer. You're the visionary. You give them their tasks, and hopefully they will do them correctly and within the right time frame. And the final piece that I tell people is that you've got a 3-month timeline, you've got a 5-year timeline, you've got a 1-year timeline, but you also have to have 3-month timelines. So within each quarter of the year, you're going to create certain goals that you want to have met. Now, within those goals, you have to plan workarounds. What happens if plan A fails? What happens if plan B fails? And what is plan C that's going to encompass me getting to my goal? So it isn't just a matter of creating the plan and working the plan and, oh my God, something just went wrong, everything explodes. It's plan A, plan B. You anticipate where there might be traps and holes. Even if you don't know if they're going to be there, imagine them. Because if you can imagine them, they will, not that they will show up because you called them, you're prepared for them when they do. You don't get rattled, you don't lose your train of thought. And then if plan B doesn't work out completely, you have a fallback to plan C. Chances are you never have to use plan C, but you've got it. You've got a back pocket, backdoor saving plan that's going to keep you on track so that your 3-month goals are met. At the end of the 1 year, you've got your milestones met and you're moving in a really positive place. You've got your business identity, which is really grabbing the people to it, and you are the driver behind all of it. So that takes some of that craziness and the insanity of trying to build a business as a brand new entrepreneur out of the picture. You're going to use April's tips and you're going to use Beate's tips because they are all bang on perfect. It all integrates. So there you go. That's what I'm offering.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have about 10 minutes left. And what I'd like to do is if you have a free gift, if you'd like to talk about it and let the listeners know what you're offering, how they can receive it. Of course, we're going to put your links in the replay. But does anybody want to talk about a free gift that they might have for the listeners, the audience? Okay.
I do have perfectly for this topic a productivity checklist for entrepreneurs, and that really helps you move throughout your day in chunks. So kind of how do you best and most effectively plan your morning and have check-ins at lunchtime and at dinner to really ensure that you stay on track, you keep motivated, you don't go into different directions, but without, 80% of our results come from 20% of the work that we do. That checklist really helps you identifying those 20% and ensuring that you're staying on those 20% to give you more momentum over the long term. So I'll put it in the chat as well.
Yeah, that's perfect. That would be very helpful for a lot of people listening here. And then Sue.
My clients are mostly the HSP, the highly sensitive people, the entrepreneurs who have that sensitivity where they can read their environment, read their clients. Me being one of them, tend to get overwhelmed with the energy of everything that we need to get done and the energy of all the people and the energy of our business. So I put together a package, again, of checklists, similar, not at all like Beate's, but for the highly sensitive person to help keep themselves on track. So if anybody is interested, I'll provide that. That link isn't available at this moment, but I will give it to Sophia so that one of the VAs can put it into the comments tomorrow. Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds super helpful because there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are highly sensitive. A lot of people that are highly sensitive. And April, you have a free masterclass. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. So coming up on July 18th, I'm holding a free masterclass, and it's called the Franchise Growth Formula Masterclass. And that's because I'm a franchisee and our niche is franchisees, but we actually have a lot of small business owners who don't belong to a franchise, and we welcome all of you because what we're talking about are business strategies to apply to whatever your specialty is. So it's not industry specific, it's just good old fashioned stuff like we've been talking about here today. And what you can expect to learn, it's 5 hours over 5 days to advance your business 5 years into the future. We are going to talk about some of the productivity tactics and strategies we touched upon today. In addition, we talk about acquisition for employees and how to get them developed so that you can trust to delegate to them, which will then free up some more of that get it time for you, and the marketing and sales strategies that you would then use that are a higher level than what most small business owners are exposed to in order to scale. So within 5 days, really bite-sized little action steps, but most people leave it not only having great stuff to implement in their business, but also having made progress and either increased their revenues or freed up some of their time and created more balance in their journey in that 5-day period that we work on it. So the link, all you have to do is click the link, and we'd love to have you.
Awesome. Thank you. Allison, did you have any?
I certainly do. Sorry, excuse me, my dog's just decided to bark suddenly. Frightened me. He was being sound asleep. Yes, I have a offer for those who are interested. I am hosting a 5-day Akashic record journey to access the wealth codes for your business. So we are going to go on an exploration journey into your Akashic records, into the soul light of who you truly are. And we are going to access the river of wealth that is truly yours, because I truly believe that as entrepreneurs, as multidimensional beings, our business is a soul expression of who we are. And from that place is where we can actually shine our light in the way that it is meant to, in whatever capacity our business looks like. So
Beautiful. And it starts next week?
It starts on Friday. Friday
Awesome.
This week. So what day is that exactly now? The 8th. Tomorrow. Oh my gosh, it's tomorrow. We're starting tomorrow.
Oh.
Can you make it?
Okay. Perfect timing. Awesome.
I told you there's divine timing in everything. I did say that earlier.
Yeah. That's great. I love it. And one of the things that we still have just a few more minutes. One of the things that I see a lot of newer entrepreneurs coming in, they're either not really diving into their calling or their passion, and they're just using the skills that they've learned, or they're completely diving into their passion and calling and saying, I'm leaving all these skills that I've learned, like leadership and delegation, and maybe, like I used to write SOPs and policies and stuff when I was in my career. So all of those, skills that we've developed over time in whatever capacity we've been in before business are so super useful. And so does anybody want to say anything quickly about that? We've got like 6 minutes left.
I'm already unmuted.
Okay, perfect.
So what I would say is, when you are going into a business, when you're following a passion into business, which is something that most first-time and newer business owners do, I would encourage you to make an adjustment to your passion. And like Sue was saying earlier, and Allison mentioned she was a florist, right? She's probably very passionate about flowers and passionate about making those arrangements and passionate about just improving somebody's day or wedding experience or whatever it is with this beautiful, beautiful bouquet. And that's a wonderful thing to be passionate about. But as an entrepreneur, you want to make a slight shift to that passion and say, I want to, if I really want to make a bigger reach, if I want to have a bigger impact, I'm going to be passionate about growing a flower business. I'm going to be passionate about growing, empowering others, my employees, to love flowers just as much as I do. I'm going to impassion their skills and their ability to create wonderful bouquets and light up people's lives. And through making that shift to being the end user, passionate about the end product, and being passionate instead about the opportunity to have a bigger reach, that's going to allow me to make a bigger impact on the world through my talents.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. I love that. So good. Because it just does that little shift where you don't have to be antsy in your pants and think, oh my gosh, it's all, it's all about me, because it's really not all about you. But when people say, but it's not all about you, then you can kind of, so that explains it perfectly well. Thank you so much for that. Does anybody else want to comment on this?
I think it's really key for us to step into our zone of genius. And our zone of genius is more than just our passion. It's really the things that we are skilled at. It's the experience that we have. It's something that we practice for hours and hours. Not just, we are talented at, but we actually put effort into refining and to getting better at. So it's really taking all the things, not just, oh yeah, I'm passionate about this, so I'm going to create a business out of it. Great, amazing, awesome start. But how can you use everything that you've become in your whole life so far, to really hone into that and use that to really drill into a business that can actually substantiate and can work, by using all of the talent, strengths, passions, skills, experiences that you've had in your life so far, and capitalize and leverage that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because we are not just one thing, right? It's not just our passion or our strategy or our, like, going back to the very beginning of the conversation about, we're multidimensional, multifaceted, multi-aspected beings, as what Allison said, to quote Allison. So and we are. And so bringing all of our wisdom, experience that we've gained, and how we perceive, our perceptions of how we've gone through life and navigated the journey is part of it. It's got to be part of it. So it's all of it. So thank you so much for that. All right, any last words? Sophia, did you want to say anything real quick? Oh, Sue, you had some? Go for it.
Sophia has something to say. Absolutely, it could be Sophia.
No, Sue. If you've got a comment about this, it's really. I'll just finish up.
I'll make it real fast.
It's okay.
So when we become those new entrepreneurs, we're those energizer bunnies. We're so excited. We're so filled with the energy and the power of our passion and our dream and our vision. And a lot of times we're leaving a job that held us back, that held us down tight. We had incredible strengths, and we had incredible skills that defined us in those jobs. And we want to take that coat off. We want to do something different. So a lot of times we will put those skills into mothballs, put them aside, and we'll try to develop new skills. And as a result, we lose access temporarily, and sometimes shoot ourselves in the foot because we're not using those accounting skills and those sensory skills and those writing skills. They come naturally, but we push them aside. So it's important for us to give ourselves permission to use all the skills, even the ones that we did so much, but we're so good at in our corporate jobs or our other careers. Permission to use everything we've got and bring passion. There's a very loud noise coming from somewhere, and I'm not sure. It's your construction.
No, there's nothing going on here. But I'll mute myself. So, but yes, I agree with everything that you're saying. Thank you, Sue. Sophia, did you want to?
Do I want to? Yes, thank you, Lisa. I just like to if I can just add to this beautiful, amazing conversation first with two tips. One is to find out what your human design is, and to follow that with your business, because when you know what your human design is, you can use that to the best way to empower your business. Like I know that I'm a what am I, Alison? Sorry, a generator. And when you generate, you just use your energy in the most worthwhile way, and it's really good. And if you don't know what your human design is, do connect with Alison, who's the host of our Human Design Tribe, because when as a generator, when I'm really passionate about something, you never get tired. You don't burn out. You might get tired and you go and have a power nap, but you don't burn out. You don't get major overwhelmment because you listen to all the signs. But the other thing that I really recommend, and I know we've talked about this, is definitely outsource. And if it wasn't for our beautiful VAs like Wilma and all our other VAs, we wouldn't be here now. Even if you think that you can't afford it, then if you're doing stuff you don't like, it's not going to work. Where you just outsource a little bit and outsource a little bit and outsource a little bit more, it gives you so much more time. So I just want to say a big thank you to all the VAs in the world who help all the entrepreneurs in the to help them find balance, because without our VAs we wouldn't do what we do. So thank you, and just want to thank everyone for being here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. And the replay will be up in our on the website, and all of the panelists will have the links will be available for the panelists and all of their goodies and how to connect with them. And stay tuned next week for the same time for this Conversations That Count, when we're going to be talking about business energetics. So you can secure your websites on our website under the events, and that link will be also in the replay. So thank you all of you panelists. Beautiful, lovely discussion and amazing wisdom. I love it. So much goodness. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And if I can just finish up, Lisa, just also tomorrow, same time tomorrow, Sue is actually, our beautiful Sue, is coming in to be the facilitator of What Controls Your Peace and Panic every day, which will certainly help entrepreneurs when there is the overwhelm. And of course, for everyone who is watching us, if you're interested in a human design tribe, or even Lisa's tribe, which we haven't talked about the rise up, embody your feminine power, something like that, and all of our other tribes, and you're more than welcome to join us just for $1. And come and have a laugh. But come and join us for $1 Australian. You get to experience all our tribes for just 21 days. Then after that, it's only 15 Australian dollars a month. So all the links are in the comments everywhere. So thank you.
Okay,
And thank you everyone for watching.